the wheat lace stitch, open version. By the way, this stitch does curl a bit on the end. As a bonus, I do want to show you how to do a closed version, which looks more like the original. I just happen to like this one better. Now, I will tell you that if you steam, your curls will stop. And to learn how to do this closed version, you have to stay till the end. Hey, it's Denise from LoomaHat.com. For more information and a complete list of supplies, visit the website, and keep in mind that this is only a stitch pattern, so no cast on or cast off. Alright, let's start with the setup, which is row 0. It's made up of 5 purls and 5 knits, but I start with my edge, which is 2 knit stitches, and then begin the stitch pattern with those 5 purls. So get your hook, you scoop up the working yarn to create a new loop. Right here, you're going to take the old loop off, put the new loop on, and pull to tighten that stitch. That was your first purl. Now here's the second one. Again, you're going to scoop up that working yarn to create a new loop. Take the old one off, put the new one on, and pull. I'm going to do my third one right here. So I'm scoop up from the top, create a new loop, take the old one off, new one on, pull. That's 3. Here's purl number 4, and you could just do 4 if you want your space between your wheat to be thinner. You can just do 4, but I did 5, and there's my number 5, and this is what the inside looks, right? So that you know that you did your correct number of purls. And then we're going to start the knit stitches. So knit, eWrap, knit, then eWrap, and then a knit stitch. And when we say knit stitch, I mean a Uwrap. So you half wrap your peg, which creates that U shape, and then knit off. So take the bottom loop over the top and knit off. And then my second one is an eWrap. So I wrap my peg completely and then I knit off. I'm going to do now a Uwrap knit stitch. Anywhere there is a K and it says knit is that Uwrap. So half wrap and then take the hook and knit off, and now I'm going to do an eWrap. So I'm wrapping my peg completely and then I knit off, and now my last one for the 10 stitch pattern right here is a knit stitch. So I Uwrap or half wrap my peg and knit off, and that is the 10 stitch pattern. I am going to repeat that myself 2 more times. You're going to repeat it as many times as necessary for the width of your project. Once I've repeated my 10 stitch pattern 2 more times, then I'm going to do my edge. Personally, I did 5 purl stitches to end my project and finished off with 2 knit stitches. You could do whatever you want. This is not part of the stitch pattern. This is my edge. You can do yours differently. For row 1, we're going to do a knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, purl 5. Sounds a lot more difficult than it really is. Let's get started with the edge. This is my edge, which was 2 knits and 4 purls, and then start with the actual 10 stitch pattern. This one here is where we need the knit 2 together and then the yarn over. So we're going to take the yarn over and take the stitch off the peg, unravel it, it's an eWrap, and bring it over to that first peg right here where we need 2 stitches, and now we have them. And we're going to do a Uwrap and take those 2 bottom stitches and we're going to knit off. And then you're going to take that working yarn and place it over the peg and anchor it on the peg next to it. So do a knit stitch, that's your knit 1. So place the yarn over and knit off, and now you need a yarn over next. So you're going to take that loop off the peg right here and move it over. So take the loop off the peg, unravel your eWrap, and take it to the peg next to it and I'm gonna call it a knit two together just to make things easier, so both sides will be a knit two together. So do your yarn over, place your yarn over that peg onto the next one where you're gonna anchor that yarn over. And your knit two togethers can actually be done separately if that's too much for you. Just take each loop and knit off one at a time. That's okay, you can do that. It's your project. Turn the loom over and you can clearly see where the knit two together, yarn over, knit one, yarn over, knit two together is. And then you're ready for those 5 purls. And again, remember that you can change these in between purls from 5 to 4, 3, or 10. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You have a lot of leverage here when it comes to the purls, how wide or how thin you want that in between section. All right, you're good. Now just repeat that 10 stitch pattern as many times as necessary. For row 2, you're just going to do 5 purl stitches followed by 5 knit stitches. So, you know the drill. Do your edge, and then let's start with those 5 purl stitches, because once you're done with those, you'll be able to move on to the 5 knit stitches, and that's basically row 2. Row 3 is just the opposite. Now you're going to knit 5 and then purl 5. Next is row 4, which will look very familiar. It's that purl 5, then the 5 knits. So you're going to start your row after your edge with 5 purl stitches followed by your knit stitches, and it's a combination of U and eWraps, right? You remember that. So you're going to knit using the U, then an eWrap, then a Uwrap, all knit stitches, then an eWrap knit stitch, and then a Uwrap. And that's a wrap. That's row 4, and then you just repeat as necessary. Then you just repeat rows 1 through 4 the length of your project. Now let me show you how to close that wheat. You ready? This is what it looks like when it's done, right? And it's been steamed and everything. On the back side, it looks like this if you haven't done it. If you've tightened your loops, it's going to look like this. Okay, so this big loop right here, find your very first one from the front and pull on that loop from the middle and take it to the back of your fabric. As you pull on it, you'll see that it turns into that V shape from a knit stitch, right? And the loop now is on the back. So from this point on, you're going to pull on your loops from the back, and you're going to take the new one and feed it through the previous one, and now you're on your way upward. So you grab the next stitch up, and from the middle you pull on it. You'll see it has 2 stitches on the side. Just pull that very middle, and if you happen to do it backwards and put the previous one and the new one, it's not going to work. So take that new stitch, feed it through the old one, and go again, as I said, upward, and it'll look like this. And on the front side, you'll see that now that loopy stitch is tightened, and it looks like a knit stitch instead of loose like that, right? Because that looks more lacy and more loopy. Happen to like it, but you might not. And all you have to do is, when you're done, get a needle and thread and secure your stitches to the fabric, and it won't go anywhere. So all you have to do is keep going up until you get to the very top of your fabric. And again, with a needle and thread, you can just secure that loop to the fabric, and then that's it. There's your closed wheat. That side is not steamed, so it still has some curves and curls. If you want it like this, I'll leave the link in the description so that you know how to steam block your fabric, so that it lays nice and flat like this. Well, I hope you guys like this project. I do.